Hello everybody, welcome to today's stream. I'm Nacho Riesco. I'm gonna be here sculpting organic design for applied to jewelry designs. So let me know if my voice is working fine. You can listen to me okay, my voice sounds good and the music is not too loud. Let me know because I'm still finding with the settings about the music. Still, I know. But just let me know if my most important thing is that you can listen to me clearly. So, and let's see, I'm gonna change the kind of music. Okay. And let's go. Hello everyone. Hey Fexter, how are you? Nice to see you here as all the weeks. Voice and music, perfect. Perfect. So I'm improving every streaming. So I'm still trying to improve my streaming skills, you know. So, okay, so let me check the chat, see if everything is working fine. So today I'm gonna make a ring. I'm gonna start designing and sculpting a snake ring. So I was collecting some information, but I don't want to copy or any existing ring, so I don't have any special in mind. I'm gonna show you what I found. Here, looking for some inspiration on Pinterest, you can see there are many different snake ring designs, many of them. We have a lot. We can find many different kind of designs, compositions, kind of snakes, bigger. You can see here there's like a skeleton. The most common one you can find could be this one, or there are many, so many, but I'm not sure yet what is the kind of design that I'm gonna do. I have something in mind. The most important thing, it must be comfortable to wear on the finger. So I don't want to make this kind of rings where the head and the tail, they are one far away from the other. So I'm gonna try to make as more compact ring design as possible. So let's see what comes out. So today we're going to talk about ring sizes, how to set up properly a ring size, how to work on for making the scale patterns for the scales. I'm not sure yet what kind of scales I'm going to use. I'm going to try to make it kind of soft scales like this. I'm not looking for example, to make something like this that they work like they are working as a relief on the surface. They are picky. For me, this one is too picky for me, too aggressive. So it's going to be a design for a woman. So I'm not going to go through to the aggressive mood. So I will try to make it elegant, comfortable to wear, as I said before. And let's see. I have lost the references. Let's see. So anyway, you have some questions or regarding to any other theme different than I am doing, just throw them. So I'm gonna try to pay as more attention as possible to the chats. And it is not going to be complex. Because what I have in mind is to make to manufacture it, so it's gonna be a gift. So I'm gonna try to make it compact, simple, elegant, so not very complex design. If you are interested on making a little bit more complex design, you can go to my previous streams. I'm gonna try to give you I'm gonna try to find the list where my previous streams are. Let me check the list where I am here. No, it's not this one. So, this one. So here I'm gonna share it on the chat. So here, for example, you can see this design. I was making this design. I'm gonna open this one, this video, for example, where I was making this kind of a snake a little bit more complex, more intricate, with more curves. The scales pattern is also more complex than the scales pattern I'm going to do today. And maybe you can review this video to know how I make the body, how I apply the scales pattern flowing on the body. So I will share with you my channel here, the list from the Pixologic Webs YouTube channel. There you go. And hello everyone. Again, we are a lot of people. For me, we are a lot of people. I'm very happy with the streaming because I'm gathering a lot of people watching what I'm doing. So I'm very glad and really appreciate that you are here watching my streams. And as I said before, just make questions. I was very glad with the previous stream where you were making a lot of questions. We were talking about many different things, many different techniques. So I want to make the stream as more interactive as possible. So where you send your questions, I try to answer your question. We can start talking about completely different things, everything related about ZBrush or any sculpting processes. And Chris Jesus is asking, how do you like to add your diamond cut slice in your jewelry? What do you mean about to add my diamond cut? Are you talking about the cutters or the sheets for the stones? Who do I like to add your diamond cut? And maybe you are talking about how diamonds apply to a pavé distribution, or you are talking more like a single stone with 4 prongs or 5 prongs. So please let me know. Give me more information about what do you need. Fexter. Thank you very much, Fexter. I really appreciate your words. So gracias, amigo. And then okay, let's go. Let's start working and stop talking. So I'm gonna try to pay as more attention as possible here on your questions. So I already have this set. This is going to be most of the time. This is my setting as a starting point for a ring design. What I have 2 cylinders. The main cylinder is this one. I'm going to open here my subtools. This must be at the bottom of the list. This is going to be the mandrel. I forgot to open my Epic Pen application to start drawing on the screen. Yeah. Let's leave it here. After ZBrush, if I go straight for printing, yes, always. I make the whole process, the sculpting process, designing and the sculpting process within ZBrush, and then I export from ZBrush, STL format, and I send it directly to the printer. Yeah, from ZBrush is straightforward for the printing process. After the printing process, you need to use the lost wax casting process to transform the printed piece into a metal piece. So you must use the lost wax casting process. There are a lot of information on YouTube about lost wax casting process about jewelry. So it is called microfusion. So it's like a normal bronze or copper casting processes, but with at a smaller scale. That's the reason why they call it microfusion. Okay, let's go. So this is what I get. This is what I have as a starting point. for any ring. So what I have, this is the master tool, or the master subtool in this case. It's the cylinder. So the only thing that I do is starting grabbing the cylinder, convert it as polymesh. And the next step, I used to extrude it a little bit to make it a little bit longer. And what I do now, I try to apply one polygroup for each of the sides. So the better way to do this, or the simplest way to do this, is going to the polygroups, groups by normals. It's called here today. So groups by normals. So we will get different polygroup for each side. So I then go to crease the polygroups. So creating a creased line to the border of each polygroup. You will find this button here, geometry, H loop, and then I'm sorry, creased, and crease PG, crease polygroups. So now I turn on my dynamic subdivision mode. So just to get on a smooth surface. So next step is going to the scale master. Let's read first. This is the existing measurements we are having now. It's 2 by 2 millimeters. It's 2 millimeters diameter tube or cylinder by 3.55 long. So this hasn't sense to start making a ring. So I changed the unit. I remember. Let me check it out first. This one was 18.5 millimeter. So then I use the scale master to set up the scale. So 18.5 and resize subtool. So now I start working with the real measurements, or with the final scale of the ring. This is going to be the finger size. So if just for double checking, here you can see here that I'm working with a cylinder that it is 18.5 by 18.5 by 32 by 79. This measure, it doesn't matter because we can make it longer or shorter. That doesn't matter. So the most important thing here is the diameter. So from this point we can start building, we can start adding elements, we can start designing our ring. Chris, you were talking about adding actual size slices within the outer border, or wherever you choose on the 3D mesh. But I was wondering, you use the slice process in conjunction with bridal symmetry. I still don't know what you mean. I was talking about adding actual slices with the outer border, or wherever you choose on the 3D mesh. But you were talking about the stone setting, right? Your previous question was about diamond cut, or yeah, I think you are talking about how to make a hem cut, diamond cut, a stone hem cut for yeah. I never did it because I already have this great brush that already has different. I'm gonna turn on off my dynamic subdivision. I already have many different hem cuts here ready for start working with them. So I don't need to start creating the necessary cut. Or you are talking about a custom cut for a hem? I don't know. Gracias a ti, Andreas, por estar aquí. Muchas gracias. How much do we allow to shrink it? Yeah, 0.4 millimeter could be correct. I think that the correct answer, maybe depending on the person who can give it to you the answer. I think the best way is talk with your casting house. So and depending on the kind of material or the printing material, the shrinkage factor that you need, depending on the kind of printing material you are going to use for your designs, depending on the kind of casting process that your casting house is going to use. So the best way to know it is to talk directly with your casting house and to know which is going to be the necessary shrinkage percentage that you must apply to your designs, because depending on the kind of material, as I said before, on printing, the process or the method for the casting, you can find different values. We can say 0.4 as a general value, but depending on you use ZBrush, if they say 0.4, so they are right because they know his process, and that's it. Because when we, for example, if you are printing your pieces with a wax material, they are much more expensive machines, printers, and you're going to have less shrinkage percentage that you are using resin, for example. So is your supplier, in this case, ZBrush, is telling to you 0.4 is the value that you must apply to your design, so go ahead with it. And sí, habla del diamantado. Esos cortes que se hacen en una máquina y quedan acabado brillante como espejos. Sí. Yeah, I'm right. I'm agree with you, Fexter. I think he is talking about how to make the diamond cut, not about make the stone setting. Hello friend, how you make it top knot? Marcio Ibiza is asking how you make a top a knot. Could you give me more information about the kind of knot do you mean? How would you make a top a knot? I think it's going to be something similar that I'm gonna make with the snake body, because I think the best way to make knots is using ZSpheres. I'm gonna start using ZSphere for creating the snake body. Let me let's talk about these slices with our borders. Yeah, what you can do, you can use for example, you can start working. Coming back again to the question from Chris Jesus. I don't know if my pronunciation about your name is correct or not. If I make a polymesh, as you said before, we can start making the faces, the facets, using any radial symmetry. In this case, I'm gonna select the Y. Maybe you can start using this kind of brushes. On there, I didn't use it before. This is called planar. Yeah, this kind of brush I prefer to use than the H polish to start adding to start creating this kind of hems. Yeah, something like start refining your shapes, still getting something like facets. This, we can call this process, this could be a sculpting process of making it. Also, you can start using low poly modeling, so where you can start with for example, you have like this could be, let's turn off the symmetry. Let's get into the gizmo options. Let's select the taper. Let's select this. So let's make it like this. Let's select the gizmo. Let's squeeze it. So once you have the base mesh, this is going to be, let's come back to the symmetry again. You can follow polishing and polishing like this. So once you have this, you can start creating your low poly modeling with, for example, you can use here, we can select we already have here. Let me check. I don't remember where it was. There was a brush thing, this one with a single poly here. This is what I was looking for, where you can start creating, in this case, like this, the split max points. And now you're gonna start, this is just a single polygon. So with this, you're gonna start dragging just in here your facets here, and now you can start using the C modeler to extrude H face. No, in this case it's not this option, maybe extrude mode, and now you can extrude. Start extruding and start creating your low poly modeling here, one by one polygon. So extruding faces, putting faces on plate, you can start creating symmetry, mirror and well, and this axis, and another, this is another axis, this one, no, the C axis in this case. So you don't like it, you can remove edges with the C modeler again, delete, single. So if I delete, we're getting problems here. So you can, instead of delete, we can slide this. So you can, from this point, you're gonna start creating your low poly modeling. Just start extruding faces, still getting the kind of hand cut that you are looking for, but it will take a bit of time. So let me hold. Thank you very much. Is there an option in ZBrush Core to union? In ZBrush Core to union subtools to smooth together then where they connect. In ZBrush Core, yeah, in ZBrush Core you can work with Nanomesh. You can Nanomesh different elements together to convert from different single meshes to blend them or to weld them into only one single piece. Yeah, for example, let's open. If I open my ZBrush Core, for example, this here I'll have, let's convert. And if, for example, if I duplicate this, I'm gonna create and let's turn off the symmetry. Let's duplicate this and we move it. Let's turn off the symmetry. If we are getting three, now we are having three different subtools. We can start merge them together. I'm sorry, I got it in Spanish. Let's go to preferences, language in English. You can go to merge down. You're gonna start merging down all of the necessary subtool that you need to merge down. Now, when you already have all of them as a group it into one subtool, but they are still individual pieces. But that means that if you want to still tweaking a bit the composition, you can select, for example, the move topologic brush, and you can start still play with them individually. But at any time that you decide that you need to make the union of all, you can go to geometry, Dynamesh, and now they are one single mesh. So you can start smoothing the union, and you're gonna start working with only one piece of geometry. That's it. I think, I don't know if it's that you were looking for. Let's come back to the big brother, to ZBrush. Yeah, nice to see you live again. Thank you to you for being here, Dennis. Thank you very much, Heather. I'm trying to be as best as possible, but I'm not the best, I know it. And Sonia is asking in Spanish, is there any way to place stones, grains, or prongs on the cutters on the same place? And after to choose what part you want? Yeah. Let me read it again. Hay alguna forma de colocar piedras, granos y cortar en el mismo sitio. Y después elegir qué parte quieres para hacer booleanas. Sí, puedes hacer. Yeah, you can do this. I think that you're asking something like this. For example, I'm gonna open the stone that I already have here. You have a diamond. You can append a cylinder. Let's rotate it. Let's turn on the transparency. Let's squeeze it a bit. Let's get into the gizmo options using the taper. So you can make the tapering. Let's come back to the gizmo. Let's try. I'm trying to correct the cutter for the stone, right? It should be more or less something like this. So you already have the stone and you already have a cutter. And for example, you can append one more thing. I'm gonna use this tool. This is a mix of a cylinder and a sphere. That's the reason why it is called sphereinder. It's hard to pronounce. So depending on the kind of prongs that you need, you can make it one here. Let's put it here. Let's mirror and weld in this axis, and let's mirror and weld. There's another axis. We can make it longer. Just a quick test. So once you have all of the components that you need, the only step that you should take is going to merge visible, and then you will get here all of the elements grouped as a one single subtool. And now you can go the placement. I think it is not good enough. Okay, this one should be. Okay, doesn't matter. So I'm trying because I was watching that this should be more like a cross, like this. This should be here, 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 and here. But okay, just for a quick explanation, it's going to be enough. So you can get into the brushes and create an insert brush. So create an insert mesh. So you want to create a new one. So let's create new. And for example, if I go, let's select the cylinder I was using before, and then you can start inserting your. The reason why it looks like so weird is because I'm using dynamic subdivision. So if I turn off dynamic subdivision, we are gonna. So you can control this. You can start placing as many stones as you want. And your question was about. After you get them, all of them place it so in place, so you can the question is if you can select what you want to start making booleans. So the way to do this is if I turn on here my polyframe to being able to see my polygroups, you can see that we are getting different polygroups, which comes from the original piece. Like this, you can see that this is one polygroup, this is another polygroup, and this is another polygroup. We have three different polygroups: the stone, the cutter, and the prongs. So if we go here now, we can them is split by polygroups, going to the splitting options here. Where is it? So group split. Okay, and now we have. Oh, I forgot that I had polygroups for each of the sides of the cylinder. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna fix it. So merge down this. I'm gonna grab this. with here and merge down. And now we can go to merge, modify topology, well points, and it is watertight again. So now you have the prongs, you have the stones, you have the cutters, and you have the stones. So you can place this here. This is negative, and you can start making booleans between the necessary elements. So the answer to your questions is based on polygroups. So if you have all the polygroups set on your insert brush, then you're gonna be able to split them into different elements based on the previous polygroup you were creating during the modeling process of your composition. Me he visto en otros vídeos poner papel piedra por piedra, perdona si tengo que repetir lo que ya has dicho. Sí. I used to make the pavés stone by stone. Yeah. Well, I'm not placing this stone by stone. What I do is, I have this custom brush. Where I am. Where is my cylinder? My cylinder must be here. Yeah. What I do is I use, this is a custom brush that I made. This is what I place is one by one the cutters for each stone. So then after I'm going to use Nanomesh to put all the stones together at the same time. So I think you can watch it on other of my streamings where I was making a Sacred Heart pendant. If not, maybe I'm gonna explain it to you after. But the system is based on insert brushes and Nanomesh. Because most of the times, or I can say even 100% of the times, the pavés that I do is just for rendering purposes. So if I have one design that it should have a pavé distribution of stones, I leave it the surface completely empty, blank, and then send it to the stone setter for the stone placement. I don't make very often digital stone placement. I don't know exactly. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, I have lost your question. Yeah, Hansi Rek, yeah, yes, is the answer about the ZBrush core union dynameshing. Yeah, this is ZBrush, so Jasil Ali is asking. I need a little help. Yeah, that's the reason why I'm here. I have created a cape for Kata and then used Nanomesh to create some lips on it. Jungle theme, yeah, cool. So I use BPR to you and then try to zero measure. In my system goes into a complete yeah, it's normal, that's normal. Have you got any advice on how to zero measure this or something similar? So I'm gonna export this tool out. Yeah, this is one thing that you should keep in mind when you're gonna use Nanomesh to make a random distribution or a regular distribution, doesn't matter. So keep in mind that you are going to multiply one single mesh by many times. So always start thinking about the polycount for the single model or for the single mesh, because you're going to repeat it many times. So at the end you're gonna have millions of polygons using Nanomesh. So the answer to your questions is come back again to the original leaf you were sculpting. Try to make it as lighter as possible, so with less polygons as possible, and then repeat the process with the Nanomesh. Because when you already have the Nanomesh transform into real geometry using the BPR to Geo option, so it's going to be very difficult for ZBrush to handle, or for remeshing. That is what you need. For example, 10 millions of polygons. So depending on the computer that you are using, maybe you are gonna get problems, as you said, is something that your computer is melting down when ZBrush is trying to Siri mesh the whole thing. So keep in mind that when you are trying to create a Nanomesh system, distribution system, make the original or the master mesh as lighter as possible with less polygons as possible. How is the process to bring the jewelry to your? Oh, this is the big answer. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of time. And I said before, sculpting ZBrush, send it for printing, then from printing to casting. So using the lost wax process method, and you will get the physical metal piece. So from the metal piece, a very long process starts where there are many people involved on different processes, polishing, retouching, stone setting, many different processes, but using a very big words or with a fast explanation of printing, casting, and post-processing, manual post-processing about polishing, retouching, and many different processes. There are many videos on the internet because if you don't know how you want to know more about it, I recommend you to go to this YouTube channel. It is called, let me check it out. It's Rio Grande. Jewelry. You want to know more about jewelry processes? You can go to this YouTube channel, Rio Grande, and also they have very cool and useful ZBrush explanation processes, plain processes about the stone setting and many different things. And here, I'm sure that here you will find videos about how to bring. I'm thinking about one, but I don't know if I'm gonna. Yeah, maybe this one. Maybe it's this one. When this is a friend of mine, Greg. When you can see from the printing for till casting, post-processing, you can see here the whole process from the printing to the real piece. This is a very good place to learn jewelry techniques. Sonia, te será de ayuda, me alegro. Si necesitas algo más, pregúntamelo, trataré de contestarlo todo lo que pueda. Okay, thank you. Belko Djordjevic is asking, hello, do you use micro prongs cutters or pavé, or you have hems on surface for setter to make that setting? Oh, I'm not sure what you mean. Do you use micro prongs cutters for pavé, or you leave hems? Yeah, I leave. I am understanding what you mean now. Yeah, I used to leave the surface empty, blank surfaces for the stone setter. I prefer to make the stone setting by hand, not by myself, because I don't know how to make it. But I leave just the necessary surface, the necessary thickness, the necessary metal for the stone setting. The only purpose that I have when I do digital pavés is just for rendering purposes. When I need to show one design which is going to be completely covered with the stones, or just for enjoy the rendering process of making a pavé for rendering purposes, as I said before. But when I'm talking about a real piece and a piece that needs to be manufactured, I prefer to leave it blank, as you said, for the stone setting. It's printed on wax directly. There are many different printing technologies or printers, 3D printers. Some of them uses wax, or some of them uses resin, depending on different kind of resins. So depending on the kind of printer you are using, the most The more expensive are the printers, the machine that uses wax for printing. They are much more expensive than the other ones who normally uses a ready to burn resin. You are welcome. The IMM way of doing is good. It is good, but I mean, if ZBrush had move on surface, yeah, yeah, move on surface, depending on the kind of moving that you need. Because I'm sure that you are thinking about the way that the CAD softwares have when you are working on surfaces. Remember that we are working on a mesh, not on a surface. So the way of working is going to be completely different. So move on surface could be what I do. What I do is a simple. We're making a fine tuning or a small movement. Let's come back here. For example, if I am on the stones, and I have this, I'm gonna turn this off. If I have different stones and I'm noticing that, for example, the stones, we need to move, for example, this stone. That's the reason why I said before fine tuning. So I'm not going to move one thing from here to here. So I'm just thinking about to start making final adjustments. So fine tuning adjustments. So I need to move this stone from here to here. What I suggest you is to use the move topological brush with a big size, as bigger as you can. So with this brush, with ZBrush, you can start creating things like this. The problem becomes here when you try to put this stone here, because as the surface is not flat, here you have a curved surface. Here we can have problems with the surface is almost flat. In this point, it's not even flat, but it's almost flat. You can do this, and to fix this problem that I am getting here with this stone, with this individual stone, what you can do is set to auto groups. So now we have one polygroup for each stone. What you can do is using the gizmo, control, click here. The other stone becomes masked, so you can start moving it, and you can start adjust the stone placement with the gizmo. Start pulling or pushing the stone and start rotating to match the necessary angle. So maybe it will take a bit more time that you can spend using a CAD software, but at the end you're gonna be able to do the same. So I think that's the most important thing. You can do it. Okay, let's come back again to the original. Let me check if I missed any of your questions. You have any more questions related for stone setting? Just let me know. Let me check. Okay, I think everything is answered. Okay, let's come back to the snake ring I am trying to make today. So I already have here the mandrel. I'm gonna rename this tool. This is the ring size. And I have another cylinder here that tells me how far I can go from the finger surface till the maximum height. That's the reason why this is just to use this piece as a reference. When I am sculpting I'm gonna start making the snake body to try to don't go farther than this point. So you know that you can take measurements with the transpose line. So when you have the gizmo, you turn this off, you can start working with the transpose line. So if I want to know the distance between this point and this point, I can read it here. Here I am using a thickness of 4.2859. We can say 0.3 millimeter distance from the finger surface till the highest point of the ring. This is just to use it as a reference. So another step that I take when I'm creating rings, you can see you are watching here the floor. The floor is the floor that we are turning this on and off. Here you can see the floor is currently using the y-axis. If we go to draw, we set the other axis, we can use the same button here, X on C. Here we're watching the 3 axes, but I prefer that all 3 matches at the center of the workspace. So instead of here, it will be better to set to cross here in the middle of the cylinder. So you need to go to draw and set up this value in elevation. Instead of -1, you can click here to 0. Let's make it a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna turn the fill mode, so let's set to 0, so to be able to see it transparent. So when I'm creating a ring design, here we have the ring divide in different quarters. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when we are wearing the rings, we're going to try to add more thickness from the middle and above. So try to don't make it too thick on the bottom. So this is a very good way to know that you are creating a good balance of your design. When you are creating the ring, you have the middle section from each view, so to know that we are making the ring too high or too bold or whatever. So let's start working on. I'm gonna turn this off. When all the times that I need to make snakes, I used to start always with from ZSpheres. So let's append a ZSphere. Let's grab it. We don't see it because maybe it is inside of the cylinder. If we turn on the transparency, you can watch it there. So we can now go to move. And when you are working with ZSphere, I recommend you to set up your draw size to its minimum value. So it will help a lot working with ZSphere. I'm gonna move with the shortcuts. You can use move. You can see the W, E, R, so using the shortcuts when you want to move, scale, or rotate. W, E, R. So you can start moving the ZSphere. Let's turn off the transparency and let's make it smaller. E. How thick it is. Now what we can do is we can convert it into, you just press the A key, the A from the keyboard. You can see how the mesh looks like from the ZSphere. As we are having only one sphere, that's the reason why we are only watching half of a piece of a sphere. So I think maybe we should add more spheres now. Let's click on draw. At any time that you want to create a sphere with the same size as the previous one, when you start growing the sphere, pressing the shift key from the keyboard, ZBrush will match the same size as the previous one. I'm gonna add one here and another one here. This is going to be the starting of my ZSphere chain to start making my snake body. No questions? Okay, so now if I press the A, if we go to move, we can go, we are creating 0.3 millimeter thickness tube or snake body. Working with ZBrush, I think, in my opinion, is quite similar when you are sculpting, when you are creating, usually sculpting on wax. So when you start adding material, removing material. But during the process, you always are taking measurements to know how thick or how big is what you are doing. Here is going to be almost the same. So you have in mind to create a snake body around 3 millimeters thick, so to don't make it too heavy or too thick. Starting from a 4 millimeter piece of material is going to be okay, because during the process, the sculpting process, is going to be necessary to start removing material, changing the shape of the body, adding the scale. So let's start with more material as we have in mind for the final piece. So, but anyway, during the process, we should be taking measurements to know that we are not making elements too thin, because they are going to be very easy to break on the printing or on the casting process. So that's the A. And I'm gonna try, let's say this is going to be the bottom. No, this is going to be the top. This is going to be the bottom. I don't know. Okay, let's do this, the bottom. So I'm gonna do what I did, because this is going to be the front view. So if I'm gonna start creating the body of the snake here, so more or less something like this, and the head is going to be here somewhere. Just to know, this is going to be the bottom of the ring, the bottom of the body, and this is going to be the top. So I'm gonna start adding spheres here to start creating the ring band. So because the composition or the interesting thing is going to happen on the top of the ring. So, but for the first time, I'm gonna start creating the bottom of the band. So let's create the, let's remove this drawing. So I'm gonna, because it's going to start growing here. So let's turn on the symmetry. It's here. Now we have 2 points of symmetry, and the same as before, start on draw mode. So I start dragging the sphere, shift, shift, and shift, and shift. So we have to start creating a chain of ZSphere. I'm seeing that they are big, too big. Let's come back and do it. Let's make it this thing a little bit smaller, like this. I don't care about the, I can use this to send it completely in the center. So now I ensure that this ZSphere is exactly in the middle. And now here, as I said before, here we can start creating measurements, but I'm at this point I'm more worried about the design, the composition, and not about the measurements. During the process, I'm going to start being worried about the measurements, but at this point I'm just creating or designing something. So let's go to draw, shift and shift. Here we have 2. Let's go to move, and let's start grabbing. As the ring is going to be a half shape or half shank profile, I mean the snake of the body here at the of the bottom of the ring is going to be more something like this, instead of completely fully rounded. So that's the reason why I have part of the spheres inside of the cylinder. Okay, let's select here another one here. Draw, shift and shift. Here we have 2 more. Let's only one. Let's go into move. I'm going to match here. I'm gonna match here almost in the middle. That's the reason why I said before this is important to have this axis visible, because here I know that here I am on the middle of the band. So I'm gonna place here one thing here. This is going to be more or less in the middle of both, and the middle and middle here is going to be in the middle of both. So let's go to draw. Let's add another one here. Let's go to move, and we can start creating this composition. What do you think, Dad? I'm starting making the ring. So, okay. So, and then this is going to be the bottom of the ring. As we said before, if I click the A, here I'm working with 2/8mm thickness band. It's going to be a little bit too thin, but as I said before, at this moment I'm not very too worried about the measurements. And let's say what start happening with the head and with the tail. So one side is going to be the beginning of the body, and another sphere is going to be the end of the body. So what I can do is turn off the symmetry, start creating this using the scale. I'm gonna create this sphere a little bit bigger, this sphere a little bit bigger, because I decided to create, this is going to be the head, this is going to be the tail. Yeah, that will takes, everything takes time, I know. And during the designing process, it's a process while you need to start taking decision during the whole process. So you can start from one point, you try to go from one point to another point, from the idea to the final product, and during the path you're gonna change your mind many different times. So you need to be taking different decisions, taking different directions, so that it's gonna take time, I'm sure. So let's go to move, and we're gonna start moving here. If we are watching here, this is going to be the finger. What I have in mind is if I am figure out here the hand, this is going to be the finger. No, this doesn't. Okay, this doesn't look like a finger. Okay, let's try it again. So this is going to be the finger, must go more or less something like this. Okay, this is going to be the, and this is, I mean, this is going to be the hand, more or less, right? So that's an ugly hand, but okay, you know what I mean. So this is going, the face of the snake is gonna point into the tip of the fingers. So this is what I have it in mind, what I am figuring out, what I am creating the body of the snake. So let's go to move again. I don't know if you already have been using ZSpheres a lot or not. It is a quite old feature or tool inside of ZBrush, but most of the time when I need to create the snakes or branches or things like that, I always start from ZSpheres. Let's say if I'm gonna put more something like this. If I turn this on, I know that I'm gonna try to don't go further from this point, to don't make it too, I don't know how to say it's too thick or too wide. So I'm gonna start making an S here. This is going to be the part of the body. At the bottom of the band should be almost straight. This is going to start, the body becomes, start creating S's here. This is the reason why that I use ZSpheres, because you have a lot of control during the designing process, because you have, the process is very flexible, because you can start moving the body, in this case the snake body, and trying to create a good composition. Let's create this a little bit smaller, because this is going to be the tail. The end of the tail is going to happen here somewhere. I'm gonna add another sphere here. Do you know that you can add a sphere in the middle of others? You're gonna start, this is going to be something like this. Let's start creating, when you need to start creating more curves. So then you need more ZSpheres. So that's the reason why I started adding just the necessary ones, and during the designing process, when I start needing more, I start adding more and more. For example, I'm gonna add here one more here, but trying to keep the chain, the ZSphere chain, as simpler as possible. So because if you are having a lot of ZSpheres, maybe it's going to be difficult or hard to control all of them. So I prefer to keep it as more simple as possible. I'm gonna turn this on because I'm gonna try to make an opposite shape here. If I am having this shape here, I'm gonna try to replicate a mirror shape or a mirror composition here on the other side of the ring. So, okay. Maybe this is a good help. This is the reason why I have the axis active or the floor active. Here what I'm seeing is that here the composition I am doing, here I have this point from this distance. It's almost the same like this distance, but here I have this point is shorter than this point. So the balance is not working now between the two sides of the ring. Maybe what I need to do is, that's the reason why I used to have the floor active with the 3 axis active in the middle, crossed in the middle of the of the space, for this reason, because when we are creating compositions like this, I'm gonna add here another sphere to try to create another coil here. Let's create another one here. Let's make it this a little bit smaller to recognize better the tail. Maybe this can be on top here, like this. Okay, no questions. What the fuck is that? It's going to be a ring at any point. I'm just trying to make the composition. It's going to be a snake ring. Yeah. Now if we go press the A. Okay. This is what we are getting. One of the things that I like to change on the ZSphere settings, if we go to the adapted skin, you can see by default ZBrush is creating a Nanomesh. That's the reason why we are soldering these 2 points. You can see them here. Our soldering point is happening here. The reason why we are getting this is because ZBrush is going from ZSphere to Nanomesh directly, but I prefer to don't use Nanomesh when I'm using ZSpheres. That's the reason why I turn this to 0, and then I am just seeing this is going to be how the mesh looks like, and the design is still telling to me that I am not creating the right proportions. So let's create this here and here and here to try to get a better balance. To have invisible the grid, you can see it's giving to you extra information about the design, because here you're seeing the lines. You're trying to replicate almost the same. What is happening on the right should be more or less exactly the same what is happening on the on the left. As I said before, I'm trying to create a compact design. So maybe here the body could be on top of this part. And maybe I can start getting something like this. Let's pull this down. Okay. I must start being happy with the composition. Maybe if I add here one. Once you grab the shortcuts for the ZSphere, you're gonna be able to work very fast to start making changes. So the neck should be a little bit thinner. So I'm not considering the head yet, so I'm gonna attach the head as a different subtool. I'm just creating the body flow now. The head here, and let's create here another one here, another one here, and this should be here on top. Let's set here another one, and maybe this should be more something like this. Do you alternate the view between ZSpheres and mesh? Yes, with the A shortcut, you are using this button here. You can see the shortcut is the A. The preview is the same when you are using the shortcut, the A from the keyboard. Yeah. Is this what the yeah? What the sculpting software? The Blender can't handle sculpting on this soft. Yeah, I never used Blender before, so I can't say anything about it. And when I make adaptive skin, do you just use the sub? Yeah, I always use the default setting, the density set by 2, because I'm going to use the density or the UV mapping afterward to start creating the necessary UV mapping for the scale pattern. So the density by 2 is going to be enough. If I need more subdivisions, I start subdividing the mesh once I have the mesh created, but not before. The default 2 is it's going to be enough. Okay. Where's the head? Okay, the head is going to be here somewhere here. I'm gonna create this one a little bit smaller. This one a little bit smaller too. And I'm gonna add another one because I'm looking for to create more something like this. Maybe what I'm seeing here again. Here I'm watching here. This is the middle, so I should be here. The band should be at the bottom. I'm gonna try to make it as closer as possible to the middle, this point. So here we are creating this S here. Same S is happening on the other side here. No, it's almost, I'm doing something wrong here. It's because I'm trying to create a non-symmetrical thing from this view. So let's create something, yeah, more something like this. So this is the middle point, so I'm gonna try to be as closer as possible to the middle. And okay. Why so few people are watching and stuff like this? I think that we are a lot of people. Maybe on Twitch you are a few, but on the rest of the platforms we are a lot. We are talking more than 100 people watching the stream at the same time. For me, it's a lot of people. I have tried to stream ZBrush today as well, as looks like nobody is. Also, do you know how to make a start? Hold on to make the video screen. Yeah. Also, do you know how to make the start of the ZSpheres smaller? If you were to come off the head and you want it thin, like a finger or something, there was yeah. You can start at whatever size. So during the process, you can go to scale and you can start scaling. For example, you are talking about the hand, the end of the finger should be a little bit smaller than the next one. So you can start changing the size. But I don't care too much now about the sizes, as I said before. I'm just focused about the composition. So because during the sculpting process, when the sculpting process starts, so it's going to be possible to start make things thicker, smaller, thinner, bigger, shorter, longer. So during the ZSphere process, I don't really worried about what should be the final size of the mesh that I'm creating. So let's create here another one, because if not, this here it's going to be the corner. It's going to be okay. Maybe we're gonna start creating a basement. Let's save it first, just to don't be here all the time playing with ZSphere. I'm gonna try to move forward to try to make more progress on the body, to start talking now about the mesh. More people, more questions comes. I have tried to they will all, yeah, you should be scanning the ZSpheres one by one. If you are looking forward to make the 4 tips, fingertips, bigger or smaller at the same time, it's not going to be possible using ZSpheres. Aksai Parik is asking, it's making a coin for a client, but it's struggling with hair and suggestion, and if I could show you the file image. Yeah, sure, go ahead. You can send me. You can send. You can show what you are having, and maybe I can give you a recommendation of an answer about how to make the hair. Okay, let's but one more. Okay, let's. So the next step to take is to start. If I press the A, this is what I am doing. I'm not sure if I like it about the tail mainly. Because some things are going to be more difficult to fix once we have the mesh. So it's going to be better to fix some things while you are using the ZSpheres. If not, managing or handling the mesh is going to be more difficult. The tail should be here. Maybe, I don't know. I already have your file, I think so. You sent me the file. Okay, I'm gonna check it out to see the problems you are getting with the hair. I think that I'm making I am making the body maybe too complex. Maybe it's too complex. It's about the idea that I had at the beginning. Maybe I'm making a too complex design. Okay, anyway, so let's go ahead with this. So let's make it active skin. So we will get here, this is going to be the skin, the real mesh. I'm gonna come back to the original. I'm gonna pen the skin. Where are you? Here. So I can go, gonna turn off the ZSpheres. I'm gonna turn this off to light booleans. So I can come back to the ZSpheres again if I'm not happy with the results, but let's go forward with this. So next step that I take to start getting a softer transition. So because now it doesn't look like a snake, so just going as simple as going to the polish, to the deformation, and using the polishing. So I start polishing as many times as necessary, and everything becomes smooth. So we start watching, seeing a snake body or something similar. So I'm gonna check the words I'm trying to do. Hand, it looks like cones. Yeah, the fingers are very tricky to sculpt, I know. And let me check your like this scale. Yeah, are you mean that you are trying to make it a coin, that you're gonna try, you need to replicate the same scales that you sent? Yeah, it's going to be possible, but this is not the kind of scales that I have in mind for this design. But yeah, again, but with the process that I'm gonna show you, you can do all of the scales that you want. So it's going to be very flexible and very creative. That's the reason why the process that I do, because it's very creative. You can do many different scales, different patterns, and it's very easy to make and very quick. How much do I know about jewelry? I try to know as more as I can, because working for a jeweler, so I should know as more as I can, but I'm not a jeweler. So I'm more as just a digital sculptor. So, but the creation that I do are applied to jewelry designs. But of course, it's necessary to know as more jewelry knowledge as possible. But if I don't know anything, I just ask to the professionals and try to learn from that point. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start fixing maybe the body a little bit, like this, maybe like this. This is going to be the head. As you can see here, if I am trying to create this is not the head, this is going to be the neck. So I'm gonna try to make it smaller. So if I select the smooth brush, I am smoothing the portion that I want, but I also affecting to this portion of the body, and I don't want to make this part thinner or removing material for here. This is as simple as, when you are using the smooth brush, turning on the topology feature. So now I'm only able to smooth out the necessary portion of the mesh without affecting the closest parts of the mesh. This is going to be in the head. The head still needs to be here. So this should be more something like this. I'm using the Move Topological brush. You can see the Move Topological brush allows me to move the mesh with more freedom, because if you are using the Move brush, the default Move brush, if you try to adjust this part, you are also affecting to this part. So that's the reason why I recommend to you to use the Move Topological brush here. I'm gonna touch something like a snake head here. Of course, it's not going to be the final head yet, but just to get it as a reference with an sphere, for example. I'm gonna, okay, the meshes already have subdivision levels. I'm gonna delete the lower so I can now split mask points. I can create something similar than a head. I'm gonna sculpt the head as a separate subtool, but just to get something as a head, just to get it as a reference, I'm gonna put it here. Oops. This is going to be the head, so just to know. So where the head is, let's make this part a little bit thinner. And to see how it works, I'm gonna turn on my transparency to see how far I am inside of the. I need to check which is the thickness here. I can take the ruler or the transpose line and start taking measurements to know that here I'm making a 2.2 or 2.3 millimeter thickness at the bottom of the band. It should work. So here I have almost 3 millimeters. Yeah, it's going to be enough, not too thick. And again, follow working on the body. Thanks, Vexer, glad you like it. But as the snake has several whole different movements, it's very difficult to get a one cool composition. You can be here the whole day making snakes, and maybe you will get hundreds of them, and all of them can work. So let's say like this, like this. Let's see how it works. Here you are watching that I am trying to create an opposite. This is one S, and I'm trying to replicate more or less the same, but on the other side, like the opposite shape. So this is the reason why I'm trying to make something like this, to don't make it too thick here, like this. So the ring goes from thinner to thicker, from thinner from the bottom to thicker to on the top. That's the reason why I'm changing the composition a bit now. Trying to make it from thin to thicker, like this. What I can do now is you start using the light booleans. This is should be at the bottom of the list here. If I turn this on, I start watching this, I can start watching what's happening on the internal side of the ring, like this. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my floor now, because this thing should be a little bit like this. This part should be more or less like this. Okay, something up the head, maybe. Maybe it can watch a little bit up, not too much. Once we have once I have the final head, I will take the final decision about the final position of the head. So, but now I'm, let's say at this point, time is it? Okay, 30 minutes left. So, oh, you already sent me a CTL file. Okay, I will check it out now. On ArtStation. Okay, I will check it out on my ArtStation. Okay, let's download it. Download. Let's place it here on my desktop. Okay. Okay. Automatical checking. Okay. Let's create this. Let's extract. Okay. Has no software for matrix. Usually ZBrush has software for matrix. Usually ZBrush has developed itself for the jewelry industry in the last 5 years. You give some your customers what they need. Yeah, I think you can do almost everything with ZBrush. I think, as we were talking before, compare with Matrix or with any other CAD, specific CAD jewelry software, the way that ZBrush has to do the thing is going to be completely different. But at the end, you're going to be able to do exactly the same thing. Of course, another important thing is going to be the kind of jewelry that you need to make. You are looking for more standard stuff or traditional stuff. Maybe Matrix is going to save you time to make that in less amount of time. But you are looking for more original or, of course, organic jewelry, so ZBrush will be the best choice, I think. Hola Raúl, bienvenido. Okay, let's open the SCTL file from, how do you pronounce it? Axay? It's your name? I'm pronouncing it well? Axay? So I'm gonna open it. Where is it? It must be here. This is the work from, looks cool so far what you have, and the problems that what you need is you're struggling with the hair. If I could show the little image, would you please highlight the problem? What do you like about the hair, to try to fix it? Because maybe I can start thinking about another way to do the hair, but it's not the same thing what you are looking for. Maybe let's split the hair. We can split the hair to the different strands of hair. Let's you split the hidden. We go to the hair, and what do you need for the hair? I don't know. What I see here is where you have like overall the accuracy and not able to manage spotlight. Maybe I'm gonna, oh yeah, I forgot to use the reference. You already sent the references. Yeah, let's open it too. Yeah, here. Oh yeah, right. Let's move this here. Okay, so you are trying to replicate something like this. Let's make it this smaller. We'll come back here. So I'm gonna put it on top. Mode always on top. So let's make it smaller. Let's try to place it here. Let's go here. Let's zoom in a little bit. And this is the hair. So I'm gonna select one chunk of hair. But you are on the right direction, I think so. But the hair is always tricky. Well, takes time to sculpt. So from the point that you are, so you should be follow sculpting till refining the forms. But the only tip that I can give you, maybe I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna use this. Let's split this. Split mask points. Split hidden better. So let's click on the solid mode. So here you are working with regular mesh. I'm gonna make a Dynamesh. And let's go to the plugin. Let's create Dynamesh utility. Let's create a 1 million mesh. It's going to be enough for the hair detail. Let's create the Dynamesh. I'm gonna polish by feature to start polishing the surface. I'm gonna try to match a little bit better the shape here. The first step to match is trying to match the right flow of the hair, more or less. So you will start watching the things similar. You try to replicate from the beginning things as more similar as possible from the original. If not, you start making progress, the things will not looks like the original because it just start with wrong composition of with wrong proportions. Your eyes won't recognize what you are doing. So let's start polishing. I'm gonna try to make it. Let's reduce the Dynamesh resolution. I am working on 2099. Let's make it smaller to get less polygons, to being able to smooth it slower and like this. Okay. You miss a strand. I'm gonna just trying to explain to you my way of working to do this. I use this brush, SK cloth. You know, I was talking about this pack on all of my streaming comes from another streamer. I'm gonna put the link here on the chat. So the name is Sakaki Kaoru. So I'm sorry for my Japanese, Kaoru or something like that. On ArtStation. Okay, here is, and then you go to his store, you will find the brushes that I am using here. So I'm gonna copy the link here and we'll share it with you on the chat. Okay, so what I do is I prefer to change the alpha from the alpha this to the alpha 39. Now you can go to alpha. Again, this is the problem about this. Let's move this. Move to alpha, modifiers, and you will find here the horizontal tiles. So to make it double, And now you're gonna start, let's make it a little bit smaller. You're gonna start creating a double stroke for the strand. So from this point, it's just so easy, then start creating. Just one recommendation that I can give you when you try to replicate this kind of hair: don't never make strokes parallel. For example, if you are watching, don't try to make the stroke like this. So the hair should looks like more wavy. So the best way of do this is trying to make more something like this. The stroke, I'm talking about the stroke. It's like you are not watching at the middle of the strand, so you are watching on the border. So it goes to this point, to this point, to this point, goes to this point again, and then instead of trying to go to the black line, go always to the external point. So to try to start making the wave a little bit wider. So that's the only tip or recommendation I can give you. So you can see this is the difference. If you are looking at the middle, you will get something similar what you are getting, but try to go, let's make it smaller, from this point to this point, or up, down, up again, and down. So now only you can do another extra stroke here. Maybe another one here, and here in the middle you should have one here, another one here, one arc, another arc, and then you will get something more similar than the original one. Another tip that I can give you is using the move brush with the back face mask, because here the strokes looks like all of them regular, so having the same thickness. You can see here you're having the same thickness here, the same thickness here, the same thickness, same thickness. So to start breaking this is with the move and with the back face active. You're gonna start, for example, from if we see here on the original, let's select the yellow. From the original, this portion becomes thicker here from this point to this point. So if we go with move with back face, you're gonna start make the strokes thicker here and here. Come here. So here again and here, and you start breaking the symmetrical strokes that you were having at the beginning. So you start watching the strokes become thinner and thicker during the path, so breaking the thickness like this. Of course, if we come back, one more thing that I can tell to you is what I see here. What I do is normally use the clay build up without any alpha. When I'm watching here in the middle, I start making a central stroke here, because it's more elevated. Here it's a little bit higher on the middle. And with the move, with the back face again, let's make this thing a little bit thicker. That's the reason why I use Nanomesh here, because I always breaking and damaging the mesh. So you rebuild the mesh, and now you can grab the SK cloth again, and then you can repeat the same thing as before. Let's make it bigger. Up, no, let's make it smaller here. Let's back up. Now we are going back here, here, and here. So let's make it brush size a little bit smaller here and here. No, I don't like this one. Like this one. Whoop. Like this. And let's create 1, 2, and 3 here, and another one here, another one there, and you start having the more or less the same flow here with the move brush, with the back face again. Start breaking the thickness, or start adding more thickness at the beginning, at the end. Control drag to remove. Another thing that I can tell to you is use the smooth peaks. So with the smooth peaks, you're gonna also only remove the peaks from the, and then you're gonna start getting more or less the same result with another brush from the same pack, this one, with the only one alpha 39 again. We can start refining the shapes, refining shapes. So that's, as I said before, the hair is very tricky, takes a lot of time. Dynamic brush scale is depending on the position of the camera when you are using that the scale is not affecting the brush size. Or what you're going to do the scales of the neck. I think the snakes for the scales are going to happen on the next streaming, because today I think we are not going to have time to be talking about the scales yet. I'm using this drawing tool. It is called Epic Pen. It's a free application. From the ZBrush pack, he posted on chat. Yeah, it's SK Cloud Simulation. Yeah. I'm not sure if you are talking about the Epic, this application that I used for making sketches on the screen, or you are talking about the brushes. Okay. Okay. So main answer is use the SK. You can create your own custom brush. You grab the standard brush with the alpha 39 with double alpha like this. With the lazy mouse, you can start creating. This is 0.1. You can start creating your own custom brush to start creating things like this. So one stroke, the next stroke is smaller than the previous one. So you're gonna start creating different paths of hair. I don't know if you were you using the double alpha for your strokes, maybe. Let's drop this here. Let's close it. Because yeah, you're right. You still need to work a lot on your hair, but the best way to approach something similar, as more similar as possible, is to being here working one strand at a time. So working on one strand, next strand, next strand. So it will take time, but at the end the result will be better. You was using the alpha from the list, like 3 lines. 3 lines alpha. Oh, you were using this one. This one. Yeah. It works mostly the same, but I prefer to use a double alpha instead of that one. Because the alpha is more the finishing of the alpha. The only thing the main thing is about this thing. For example, you can see here you are trying to follow the middle here, but always try to go up and down, something more like this, instead of trying to one stroke, and the next stroke, the next stroke, all of them parallel to each other. So always try to make one stroke. This is the main form, and always try to make the strokes like this, reaching the lowest point, the highest point, the lowest point again, the highest point. So to replicate a better flowing, so to make something like this, I'm gonna split this like this. So you go up and down. Now it doesn't work because I also have this. If I try to make this flat, like this. Like this. So you can start going up and down, up and down. Let's make it bigger. So to try to get the better flow on the hair. So the waviness will be nicer, I think, than what you had before. Because like this looks like it is twisted instead of flat strokes. Okay, let's come back to the sphere, to the snake. Where are you? Here. Yeah, the scales will take a bit of time, so maybe we will talk about the scales on the next streaming. So we will talk about how to set up the mesh for the UV mapping using different polygroups, create the UV mapping using the UV master. And then once we have the UVs on the mesh, I will show you how to create custom scale patterns with a plugin. You can download the plugin. The plugin I'm gonna use is this one, Nanotile texture plugin. This is the plugin that I use for create my custom alpha tileable or seamless alpha patterns. In this case, to replicate a scales pattern, and we will talk about it because we only have 10 minutes for wrap up or for finishing the stream. I'm still here again, been playing with the. Of course, I also need to sculpt the head. The heads of the snakes, they are also tricky to create. So I think more or less I like the flow of the body. What do you think? Do you like it? So if I turn this is going to be the middle. So maybe the snake, the head should be more at the middle. It's going to be more something like this. It's going to be more like it's going to have a sharp, hard shape or something like this. Maybe bigger. This part smaller. Maybe I can make this part of the body a little bit thicker. The body should looks a little bit thicker because looks like more like a wire instead of a snake body. But again, one very important thing about the snakes, one thing that I like to apply is this pin. So if I start subdividing the mesh one time, to start creating with only with one alpha to start creating this pin shape. Will gives you much better feeling that you are creating a snake body. Try to don't make this the snake with a tubular or with a rounded shaped body, because it doesn't look real or good. So it's more like should has more like a diamond shape. It is more like the body is more like a bit exaggerated like this, so it should be more or less rounded on the bottom. They should be more something like this. So the top is going to be a little bit bigger, but not rounded as I had before. So like this, it start becoming more interesting, and with the same concept as before. And if we have here, this is the tube, the body here, instead of trying to match the spin exactly in the middle and to try to apply some kind of twisting feeling, so it's much better to have more something like this instead of creating parallel lines. So start trying to break the central spin line, doing something like this. So if I grab this, I can, without the back face, I can pull this in here, pull this in here at this point. You can see the thing, the body now doesn't look so tubular than before. Because we are creating an extra S on the body, not only with the profile, but with the internal, like this. So then it starts, I think, looks better. Let's create this. Yeah. This is going to be here. This is going to be here. It should be. And this will help to the series measure when we will create a new mesh to follow the path of this pin if we are creating these strokes. Let's relax the mesh a bit. Okay, this. And we'll start getting, maybe the neck doesn't work, but it should be more like this. Yeah. Again, using the lines from the floor to grabbing references to know that we are on the same distance. You have questions? Yeah. I have missed many questions. Let me check them out. You to learn. Thank you very much, Leonard. Really appreciate that you learned from me. Yeah, my design of knowledge, my knowledge about design is just more, maybe my personal criteria. Yeah, it's hard to know or to give some theory about design, because the design, I think, is a very personal way to see the things, depending on the person. So you will find different way of working. Yeah, I'm gonna make the UVs within ZBrush. I'm gonna use the default system that ZBrush has for making UVs. It is the UV master. Where is it? Here. UV master. I'm gonna use the UV master too for creating the UVs. I'm gonna make it on the next streaming. I think so. Bunny, I'm making a snake ring. I would love to be able to go straight into substance without having to do a low poly and UV Maya. Yeah, I still want to learn to use substance for texturing. This is one of the things that I still have to learn, to find necessary time to learn how to use substance. Do you know about the brush embed or what it does in sculpting? What do you mean, Victor? Do you know about the brush embed and what it does in sculpting? What do you mean about the brush embed? I don't know what you mean. You have a question? What's the... I'm not gonna be able to read Chinese names. I'm sorry. What is the white areas function, ZBrush or other app? What do you mean? This is a Epic Pen application. You will find it very easily on the internet. It's a free application to start making painting on a screen. It is called Epic Pen. No problem. You can answer. You can ask. Send your questions. Jim is asking, can you check the link files and show how to apply alpha of two different alphas? Well, the link files. I think you said that you already sent me more files. Oh, you're here. I started from, yeah. Yeah, you are making very cool designs. What a dragon. I have to make a dragon now for a relief. And you were asking, can you check the link files and show how to apply an alpha? Yeah, I'm gonna, on the next streaming, I'm going to show you how to create your own custom high-level alpha for scales. And I'm gonna show you as well how to apply them on the snake body in this case. So maybe we're gonna create different. I'm going to create different scales designs, and I will choose the one that I like the most. So with this method, it will be better to learn better the system, because we're going to repeat different patterns. I'm going to try to polish this portion of the body like this, because it looks not very regular. On the next stream, we are going to talk about the scales. So today we have been more focused about the designing concept for the ZSpheres. And next day we are gonna be working on the texture for the surface, because today I'm not going to have time to start explaining how to create the alphas. And I'm gonna grab this portion. Let's polish it. Let's rotate it here. Let's smooth this out. So the head maybe should be rotated more or less more like this. So this is going to be the design. Of course, there are still many things to fix, because I don't want to get this sharp cut on the internal side of the ring. I will try to make it more organic, a little bit more softer. So that's another thing to fix. But by the way, at the moment I am happy with the results I'm getting with the composition of the body. If you want to start downloading and installing the plugin that I'm going to use for creating the tailable alpha patterns, I'm gonna give you now the link. It is, well, it's not an official, but we can call it official plugin. Let's save this first. Victor is asking, what's the name of the tool second to the lowest at the left side of your screen? This? Oh yeah, this is this graphic. Second to the lowest at the left. This. You're talking about the topological feature or this graphic? You will find this graphic here inside of brush menu. You can go to depth, and here you will see this graphic. I use this graphic for the stone setting with the insert brushes. But you can play with this setting applied to different brushes if you want. But the main use that I give to this graphic is for insert brushes. So if you go to the Pixologic website, you go here and you go to support, resources, plugins, I'm scrolling down till, where is it? It's here. Here you go. This is the plugin that I'm gonna use for creating the simplest alpha patterns for creating scales. You can apply it for dragons, snakes, or for many different applications. You will find it here. Okay, so we are done for today. I'm gonna check twice your questions. We're using the alpha, and I think everything is already answered. If you have any more questions, you can write them now before I leave. So for the next day, I'm gonna be here sculpting on this ring again. Maybe in my free time I'm gonna try to fix things that I don't like, but I try to fix it, so to have the necessary time for talking about the scales for the next streaming, because as we were talking about many different things, not only about this design, maybe we need more time for talking about the scales, the UV mapping, how to apply the scales, how to modify the scales, and things like this. Because as I have seen, you are most interested on how to create the scales instead of the designing process. I think so. More message. Muchas gracias a ti, Sebastián, por estar aquí. Espero que hayas podido aprender algo So, yeah. So let's, okay. So thank you very much again for tuning in today. And we'll post my next streaming. I hope it will be next week. I'm not sure yet. Maybe yes or maybe not. I still need to know if I'm going to be able to make my next streaming next Wednesday. If not, will be the Wednesday after the next Wednesday. Well, I'm gonna try to make it next Wednesday anyway. And really appreciate you are here watching my stream. I hope you have learned anything, or you have found different ways to do same thing, or to think about to start making jewelry with ZBrush. That you know that it's a very powerful tool. Even for making jewelry, you are going to be able to make many different things. The most important thing, different things than the others on the market that are already making. That's my criteria, my idea. And we'll wait you here next Wednesday or the Wednesday before, after the next Wednesday. Okay, before leave, DK creation, what is the better way to learn anything? Being practicing, maybe. It's gonna be a good way for learning. The first thing is to want to know, to have passion for something that you want to learn. So once you have passion, you're gonna put time on it. So you're gonna learn much better. Okay, so thank you very much. Muchas gracias a todos, and I wait you here on my next streaming. So hope you see you soon. Take care and stay using ZBrush as more as you can. So goodbye.